Every year, Startup Grind hosts our SG Women's Month, proudly recognizing the successful accomplishments of women leaders all over the world. These women are founders, venture capitalists, engineers, executives, educators, and more, who represent our community globally. This month, SG Women's Month is proudly presented by Silicon Valley Bank and Comcast NBC Universal Lift Labs.
Okay, well, so for those of you listening in at home from Startup Grind or related to our Grand Rapids chapter of Startup Grind, we really welcome you to today's call. Really excited here at about 2 o'clock on a Tuesday to kick off with one of our local founders and women. Since the month of May is Startup Grind Women's and all things women's entrepreneurial conversations. We're really excited to have Stephanie here with us. Stephanie actually has kind of a two-part business. One, she's got an open office space for us here in Grand Rapids called Grow Hub GR. I highly recommend if you're a business owner of any type, women or other, that you check out her space, because not only does it have free parking, it's right off of 5th Avenue. Parking is straight across the street. You don't have to pay. There's no meters, and you can show up to the second floor of our conference rooms, open office spaces. The coffee is always on, she says. I've worked there. I can identify to that moment. I drink a lot of coffee later in the afternoon, and it is very true. And there's also a set of great programming and opportunities there. And then the purpose for today is to interview her. And I will take a pause and say, hi, I am Megan Norton. If many of you don't know me, I'm proud to be going live here for Startup Grind Rapids as their co-director. And Stephanie and I have come together as part of that organization. That's how she and I met. And I'm happy to be growing it here in town. So she and I both want to say, if you want to get involved with us in this nonprofit growth chapter, all things entrepreneurs, we're happy to have you. Please DM us or put some chat comments in the bottom. This video will be going live on YouTube, so we'd like to hear from you on all of our local programming and other websites. So please reach out. We'll pop emails and contact information into the chat at the end of this event. And so with that, Stephanie, do you want to tell us a little bit more about you, and then we can jump into the questions? Good.
Sure. Sounds good. First of all, Megan, thank you for having me, and thank you for the invitation. I seriously appreciate that. Anytime that we can amplify and promote one another, especially in our local ecosystems, it's always a benefit, and I appreciate that about Startup Grind Grand Rapids. So my name is Stephanie Kolakowski. I am the CEO and Growth Officer at Grow Business Holdings, DBA Grow Hub GR, which we are at today, and Grow Business Today, which is a full-service marketing and growth agency that focuses on social impact and representing companies that believe in leading with people, planet, profit, and purpose on the forefront. So I'm very grateful to be here today and talking about one of our businesses' social impact initiatives and our commitment to certifying women-owned businesses.
So great. Yeah, with that, women-owned businesses in GR. So you've got 3 info sessions starting out next week, Tuesday the 31st, and then 2 other dates in June. Tell me about where the idea to certify women-owned businesses in GR actually started from.
Sure. So I think before we start there, let's just start, because a lot of questions that I get and some unclarity is the history, and that can lead to why the start and why the idea in Grand Rapids, if that's cool. Mm-hmm. So the history of WBNC, which it stands for Women Business National Council, it was created in 1997. And not a lot of people know the history, so I'm just going to do it real quick, just so everyone's on the same page. Yep. They were created to serve as the leading national third party for women business enterprises. Prior to that period, women and minority was all-encompassing of both gender and ethnic backgrounds. But in 1997, the federal government said women were no longer considered a minority. So the WBNC was formed. And the purpose behind the formation was to, of course, bridge the gap and offer opportunities for women in business to have access to supplier chains, federal contracts, corporate contracts, social capital, intellectual capital, financial capital to help grow and scale their business. And certification is a great avenue for that. The idea here locally, so we do have a regional partner that is the Great Lakes chapter of the business that works with WBNC certifications as well. The idea here in Grand Rapids started last year, but it started way before that as a woman in business, getting started. Like Megan, I'm sure that you can feel and vibe with me on this, wanting to create space, but also find space where we can connect to opportunities and empower one another, understanding that there's a huge need for access to financial capital, specifically amongst women in entrepreneurship. And coming up on a very important anniversary after starting Grow Business Today and creating this space that we wanted to have and have together as a community, it was okay. This is a monumental year coming up in 2022. And that year is 50 years since women have been recognized in the US Census as entrepreneurs. So understanding that it's only been 50 years, which surprises so many people, right? Really, we all know we were doing a thing before 50 years, but we're on technically 50 years. And with all of the commitment and intentionality in the city of Grand Rapids and hearts in Grand Rapids that have a desire to impact change and create opportunities, there needs to be more of a voice and also a corporate partnership and lens, private equity coming in to support important initiatives such as these that can be a part of a piece to really accelerate and empower. And we wanted to create and serve as a bridge to do that here at Grow Hub GR and at Grow Business Today. And our goal is to help other women continue to lead that legacy and be that bridge so we can certify a minimum of 100 women-owned businesses this year. We want to do more. We'll do as many as come through those doors. And we're doing actually cohort launches. We posted the next 3, but every month. I mean, we are 100% committed to this initiative. We're 100% committed to being a voice and working with other partners who are very passionate about working together in this specific lane to really empower women.
So with that, let me come back and ask a question. At the top of this, you said this started in 1997. Did I hear that right?
You did. So
yeah.
And it only started because of the exclusion, right? That happened when things separated. So women were no longer recognized as a minority business. So there is now, they've separated. So there is the MB, which also is awesome. There's also a veterans certification as well. So all 3 similar processes, but just different focal points and focus areas.
Great. I was listening to a masterclass on the way home yesterday, driving through all of our farm countries in Michigan, which I highly recommend if you have not, because it really is in touch with just, all businesses and entrepreneurs and what farms are like. It was a great touch. But I was listening to a masterclass on leadership, and it was by a woman that wrote a book that was all around all of the presidents and histories. And I found it fascinating to her that, just as a 6-year or 7-year-old woman, she's still very moved by the fact that, just recently women, even before 1997, got the right to, vote. And I thought about that in terms of how many years then it took for us to separate as women in business. And the event that's we're celebrating this year seems hard because, I go to 1997 and figure out where I was, and the math to me right now brings us certainly present day.
Absolutely.
So, I think about all the ideas that I've had in I won't name the number because that's just too embarrassing for this call, but I think about all the ideas I've had, right, in businesses that I've wanted to launch in this period of time or tried to, but needed that support that we don't know about or didn't know about until today with the Great Lakes chapter. So, I'm sitting before you as a person that has had a consultancy for a few years now and really consulted for about the majority of my career. Um, whether it's businesses or teams or established businesses, you name it, right?
Right.
Who is somebody, maybe it's not me or a person that's been in business for a while, but who is your ideal candidate that you want to talk to in these info sessions that are coming up on the 31st? And then 2 dates in June for these cohorts.
Yeah. So our cohorts are to certify women-owned businesses that are looking to gain social capital, intellectual capital, financial capital in this specific lane. And they're women that typically we focus on 1 million and under because, and there's different levels, right, in certification and different cost points associated with revenue, are women who are ready to scale up and grow their business. The certification process is a really great process in getting a handle on all the intricacies and ins and out of your business, from your financials to how you're structured and set up, to what your growth plan looks like and is, to making sure that when it comes to taking on federal and corporate contracts, which is the big point of the certification, is you're ready to do it, right? Because there's different layers of checks and balances, and the certification verifies that you have passed all the tests, checks all the boxes. Another thing that the certification and how our partnership continued to evolve was, and how can we help, and also how can we help solve problems for corporations too that are really intentional about their diversity, inclusion, and equity statement of saying, okay, the federal government only requires us to have 5%, but that's not acceptable, right? That's not okay with us and what we stand for. And we want to get more women-owned businesses as suppliers and partners for our global companies that we're blessed to have here in Grand Rapids, our local companies, our national companies that all say, this is an important thing to us. And we partnered with Meyer to start, in addition to what we're doing individually. So you don't have to be a supplier at Meyer to sign up for the cohort. But if you are a supplier at Meyer, there are other opportunities for you. Or if you're interested in being a supplier at Meyer, there's opportunities for you.
Really, and what you're doing is you're defining and designing a pipeline, right? An available list of people who are resources here, not just in the Grand Rapids proper limits, but in the West Michigan area. Is that kind of what I'm reading from this ideal candidate that would come through and get upskilled?
Correct. Absolutely. And also, you know, we did a big event here, and you were there, Megan. I appreciate you part of Grind being present. It was our International Women's Day event and celebration on March 9th. And we kicked off the second wave of partnerships and cohorts at that initiative. And we asked women in the room, and we had 73 women in the room that day. What are they looking, and what do they need? What barriers in your community? How can we support you, right? These are all questions so many aren't used to getting asked. And it can feel like, and so the survey responses that we got back just really fine-tuned that this is needed, support's needed from the terms of financial capital, from the terms of certification that can get connection suppliers and corporate contracts. And so it was kind of an exciting day. It was just kind of validation of the work that we all know, right, that is needed, but just that we have people right here in Grand Rapids and such a tremendous opportunity to be leaders in the space and really unite to make this a focus.
Yeah, and the sidebar from that event, right, and talk about people that are going to grow that pipeline that we just mentioned. We didn't just stop at, I'll say, the border of 8th Avenue on Lake Michigan. We actually went to the coast. So we had friends from Holland and up and down the Muskegon coast in town that night that could become part of this pipeline of candidacies for this cohort or these cohorts that are going to kick off in this month. So let's come back to something, you know, for one of those women that did attend our kickoff, so to speak, or our celebration on the night of really when we in March had the 50 years of U.S. Census date, I'll call it. I'm going to leave it at that. Is, you know, what is someone that came going to get out of this cohort? If there's somebody leaving the day that they, I'll call it, graduate or certify, can you put into words kind of like as a woman leaving our certification program, I expect them to be able to go out and do this. So what outcomes will happen for either each group of women or a woman in that group?
Absolutely. Well, to get to the outcome, the first thing that will start in the cohort, and with what we've surveyed and heard, there's at least 10 women in recent cohorts that have come through to me who have tried and attempted this process before through other avenues. And they have either been rejected or gotten so overwhelmed in the process that they just said, I can't do it. Well, at Girl Hub GR, we believe you can do anything, and we believe nothing is impossible. So that's a mindset that we start with when we start the cohort. So what we do in the beginning is when we launch, it's not just one woman, it's multiple, it's up to 10 women at a time, that we're all getting to know one another. We all listen to learn, to connect, to grow. So we understand by the time that we kick off why WBNC certification is important, how the process will look. We set the tone that we're with them every step of the way. So this is a long process, Megan. It's not something that you can just start and finish a week from now. It's a commitment. So when we start, they have on deck and onboarding that sets them up for what documents will be needed, your team of people, a dream team that's by your side, connections to opportunity as they're going through the process, should we get held up. And we learn that before we even start the process of entering our data into the database. We have everything that we need all set up together. And we've really started the process of creating a community locally, which is super important, right? To then get ready to that next level of that national community. And then after getting started in the cohort throughout the process, by the time they submit, everything is set. They understand their business setup. We've had women who have changed the structure of their business. They're like, once they got there, they're like, wait a minute, I need to be an S corp. It's like, what you read about that makes a lot of sense, so we really get to a lot through the process that we wouldn't get to if we wouldn't have had this open door. And then upon finishing the process, you have a network here locally. You have access to corporate and federal contracts and suppliers. You have a national network and database. You have your kickoff. So exactly, okay, I've got this thing. How am I going to use it to capitalize on this thing that I've just invested a lot of time, maybe a little money, but a lot of time, which is money, right, into, and how can I make it work for me? So we go through, okay, celebration, information about the business, blog, celebrating with the group. And then, okay, let's talk about opportunities for you here locally with some of our global companies. And let's talk about opportunities to tap into this network outside too. Mm-hmm. And so you're with us every step of the way. And people have I'm very passionate. I think, Megan, we share a servant heart. we share our need to mentor others and also seek mentorship.
I feel like you're reading my Gallup poll right now and what I did for my strong interest inquiry. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's very important they have links directly to my calendar. If anytime too, they just need to talk, I check in. I mean, those inspirational messages, those biweekly check-ins, they are not alone in this process. And we have 100% completion rate, and we are committed to making sure no woman is left behind. Okay.
So that's really great. I think you actually touched on what was my next question, and let me see if I can recap it. What will the benefit be after camp or after their cohort is over? And that is a network, right? We're planting a seed and growing our trees by creating connection with each other. You're having a fraternity of at least 10 women that are also going through this process with you. I think of my friends that have gone into the real estate business, but they've done it themselves. Yes, they've had a maybe firm or a test study organization there along with them. Or I think about many of my other colleagues that are actual project managers, and all of the study hours we've had to do to certify and get tested. The benefit for this is you're not there doing it on your own at home. You've got a number of people in your cohort to create fraternity with, right?
Absolutely.
And then with that, you have an opened opportunity to lists that are available for you based on your investment in this time, and you finish it out, you'll get a list of opportunities. That's kind of what I'm hearing, right?
Yes. And for our
which is what? Strength framework? confidence?
Strength, framework, confidence, empowerment, really. I mean, listen, it can be super overwhelming starting a business, growing a business alone, to your point, like you mentioned with your real estate friends. It's like that with all of us, and we're stronger together. So even going through the process, like we talked about earlier, we learn a lot along the way of things we can do even better operationally for our businesses, and then growth for our businesses. And then how we as our own business play a critical part in our local ecosystem and global ecosystem, right? And the opportunities are endless. It's just really getting that door opened so someone can really not just walk through, run through and say, I can do this, right?
Carefully, there's glass in her building, I will say. Don't run through anything. Open the door gently, but then maybe skip.
Yes.
Skip
well,
it.
and coming to a physical space here too. During the certification, we open our doors because listen, I'm a mom. I mean, trust me, when you go home and you're trying to do your thing, right? And you're away from your clients and your business and you're like, this is my growth opportunity, my hour zone. We understand that the hour zone needs quiet sometimes. You're welcome to come here behind a closed door. We have support services available to you. And then throughout the process, we are navigators and connectors. Like if there's something that we can provide elsewhere and we have a connection or a bridge to do it, we're going to do it. We're going to do what's best for that business or that individual that's coming through our doors. It's not about self.
There's care there. There's resource. Let's close with this as we approach the end. Your first info session date is May 31st.
It's actually May 3rd. Yes, it's Memorial Day though. So I understand.
Time to celebrate.
The 30th actually, which is 5 p.m. So definitely did not have Memorial Day on the calendar. So I understand, but there will be accessible 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then every 2 weeks, actually, Megan, after that, we're going to be having another launch, and we're hoping to have more support too from people that are interested, and then community partners that say, hey, I have a list of suppliers too that I'm intentional and I believe in this global and local mission, and we would love to work and support this initiative as well, just by saying, yeah, let's partner. Let's make sure that by the end of 2022, that us as a Grand Rapids and an ecosystem are really all doing our part to step up and make waves in these numbers together. Imagine what we could do.
I can't. It's endless.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah, it really is. So on 5 to 6 next Monday, Memorial Weekend.
Yep.
What a better way to kick off and come in community than to remember our past and those have fallen for us, as well as to create this opportunity for us to stand on. And then 5 to 6 every 2 weeks thereafter.
Yes, there will be
truly sprinting. You're really sprinting. Yeah.
Yeah. We all, and we want to, and we're doing 2 p.m. as well. So, and then if you go to our info page, if those times don't work, again, we want to make ourselves available, and we understand everybody has different schedules and life and all the things. So you can also schedule a one-on-one directly with our team, and we will come to you, because that's kind of what we do. Come as you are, growth happens here. So if it needs to be 6 o'clock, if it needs to be 7 a.m., if you're just like, I need help, we're here.
So the last question I think I had there was, what's the website? Should we shout that out and then have people land on it? And then again, we can put our contact information in the URLs in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. If you head to growbusinesstoday.com and you'll click on WBNC certification, there's also a pop-up there. So you can click right to like today's event to register. You can look and find out more about our cohorts, what it is, how to get involved, schedule your individual appointment, and also the press release between us and Meyer. So you can read more about that partnership. And if you have interest in being a supplier at Meyer, by all means, we're here to help.
That's great. So what we'll do is we'll have this video available. So if you were live with us and you want to go back to any of these points, we're really excited to share that out. So check your email. That'll show up in your inbox. in the next 24 to 48 hours as a post-event recap. We'll also have this again up on our local chapter YouTube website so that you can refer back to it. And Stephanie will be able to then take that content in this video and share it out on her website as well in her emails. So again, recap, May 30th, 5 to 6, downtown at Grow Hub GR, which is on 5th Avenue in Stocking. So it's very easy. Take a left if you're coming from the west side, hashtag the best side, down Bridge, take a left on Stocking, and you'll have to wind around because 5th is a dead end to the parking lot that is free. Doors are open. Go to the 2nd floor and see Stephanie. And then every 2 weeks thereafter, show up. We really are encouraging those of you that are listening that are women business owners here in the greater West Michigan area to take a minute and travel downtown to find out more and find the support that you might not know you had. So really excited on behalf of Startup Grind Rapids to present this mini talk. Stephanie, thank you for your time. Hope to see you soon in the next few days down there in your workspace. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, we wish you the best.
Thank you. I appreciate
Keep us posted. Yeah, maybe what we'll do is we'll addend this call maybe with a status call or a check-in on how's it going through the summer. Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense.
I totally think so.
Yeah. And if you know anybody who wants to get, again, any corporations that are looking to get involved, by all means, hand up.
All right. So with that, we really appreciate your time. Look forward to hearing from you and who's applied. Definitely DM us on any of our social channels at Startup Grind and let us know that Startup Grind Rapids, and let us know that you went. So we look forward to seeing you. Awesome. So with that, thanks very much.
Thanks, Megan.